Bro. Look, 12th in points, 25th in passing yards, not great. 16th in long passes, and 16th in 13th in touchdowns with 16. So you would think they would be dead last in everything, but they're not. Your reaction to AJ's recent comments?
Do you guys remember the Jerry Springer show?
Of course.
Roy Povich, things like that, right? And they would always have Ricky Lake, whatever. They'd have these couples go on the show and talk about what they don't like about each other, what the other one has to do
then
better.
The furniture starts moving.
Right. And I would sit there, not that I watched them a lot, but when I'd seriously, I wasn't like watching a lot. I was covering the NBA at that time.
Oh, sure.
But
afternoon games.
No, but I would just be like, if you really wanted to fix your relationship,
you would.
The last thing you do is go on national TV and air your dirty laundry about each other. He did this, she did that. I mean, you want attention. That's what I'd say. If you really want to fix the relationship, you talk to each other privately, you go get counseling privately or whatever it is.
Good point.
And that's what the situation is here. I do think AJ wants to win, wants the ball. I got no problem with him wanting to shine because I think he's a Hall of Fame caliber receiver. So I get him wanting to put up those numbers, but this is immature. The only way this is passable to me is if he's going to Jalen.
If he's done everything private.
Yeah, trying to talk to Sirianni, and they're ignoring him, not putting him in the game. Yeah, whatever, AJ, and he has no recourse. But you know what? I got to go nuclear and say it. But I don't think that's the case. He even said that's not the case. I watched the whole interview. He said it's constant communication with him and Sirianni, the OC, Jalen. He didn't even blame Jalen. Like a reporter actually gave him an opportunity. I don't even think it was a gotcha thing, but he was like, we see a lot of videos where you're open and Jalen's not throwing it to you, throwing it elsewhere. You think he's not. He's like, no, it's because you can't tell from one still shot. He's got reads and he's under pressure and things like that. So he didn't take a shot, but this is just not the way you settle it. And I'm starting to believe that AJ, and again, I got no problem with him wanting to cook and put up great individual numbers. I'm starting to wonder if he looks at his numbers like, I got two catches. I got 4 catches for 50 yards. And he's embarrassed. And it's like he wants to give an explanation for why. Like, don't just think I can't do it anymore. Don't just think I've lost it. I'm going to tell you why my numbers are so pedestrian.
So here's why I don't think – I agree with almost everything you said until the very end, which I know is not even – you're not even saying – right, it's a hypothetical or a hypothesis. Yeah. Certainly possible. It wouldn't be my guess is I guess what I'm saying. Because – this is an instance of the way the message is being conveyed is just objectively wrong. A.J. Brown going on Twitch or Instagram or Twitter to aggressively, passive-aggressively confront the issues with the offense is not the right mechanism. We can all agree on that, while I think, maybe not all agree, but I at least feel his point that there is something wrong with the offense is unequivocally true. Week 1, they scored 3 second-half points. Week 2, they scored on offense 3 second-half points. Week 3 against the Rams, they're down 26-7 before they kick it into gear. Week 5, they have 0 points the final 28 minutes against the Broncos. Week 6, they have 0 second-half points against the Giants. They then briefly, I think it was the Vikings, and then who'd they blow out? Oh, the Giants when they played them again.
Yeah, 38.
Right, it looked good.
Because remember, go ahead.
And then Week 10, after it's like, oh, maybe we're on the right track now after a bye and 2 good games, 0 first-half points against Green Bay. You cannot have the most expensive offense in the history of the NFL, which they do, that's healthy for the most part, that has guys in the primes of their career for the most part, and lead the league in 3 and outs, as they do, amongst these other teams, all of whom, if we're being honest, have massive quarterback questions, which we don't think Philly has, and be 4th most in the NFL on drives that end in a punt, again, surrounded by teams.
That's a crazy one.
With massive quarterback questions.
Well, yes. I know Nick is trying to heavily mention and emphasize quarterback questions, when it's clearly an issue of coaching offensive line play. Colin, it's really actually interesting because Colin has kind of been a little bit all over the place with some of these things. You know, talking about the Eagles trying to force the ball to A.J. Brown, and you can see here, targets, 54, 443rd in the NFL, receptions, 3,161, first, right? So clearly they're not forcing the ball to A.J. Brown by any stretch of the imagination. Some of this is going to be a little bit lower, artificially lowered because of him missing some games and whatnot, but it's only going to be so drastic. We can see, 54 targets for A.J. C.D. Lamb, who also missed a bunch of games, 53. Garrett Wilson, who played 7 games, 54. Right? Obviously the vast majority of these guys up here are going to be playing for 10 games, 8 games, 9 games, 10 games. So that's why some of this is going to be inherently misleading. Devontae 60. You know he's 29th in the NFL with 63 targets. So you know he's actually right below CD, and CD Lamb played 6 games and AJ Brown played 8. So you know, just something to put into consideration there. And also recognize that AJ Brown has 52 targets and Devontae Smith has Devontae 63 and Devontae played 2 more games or 1 more game than AJ. So you know, it paints a little bit clearer of a picture in that regard. And I agree, as I've said before many times now, going to the media and having these conversations are not the right way to do it. And it makes it wrong. But what I want to show you, I'm going to play you a clip now from Colin. And this is what he has to say about the Green Bay Packers. And this is where I talk about, like, what's the conversation we're having. This is Colin talking about the Green Bay Packers and what's going wrong with their offense. I just think they can't run the ball. I don't think it's that, you know, it seems to me they want to run the ball, and they can't, and that's the beginning of the end to all their offensive issues. So, you know, in the NFL, basketball blame game, right? Yeah. Let me see your pie chart of the blame game for the Green Bay Packers. You know, I know Micah Parsons is angry at you, so choose your words carefully, but like, what's the problem here? This was a team 2 weeks in that everybody thought, they're going to the show. They're not. They can't run the ball. And so, it's become a very Jordan Love-driven offense, without Tucker Kraft, without Reed, with multiple injuries. So, why can't they run the ball? Well, I think their offensive line has been disappointing. I think that interior line play has been bad. Banks, who they paid a fortune for from the Ners, has not been good at all. So they had a kind of a wonky, overpaid for an interior line position. Yeah. So it's O-line, lack of run game, etc. And yet, Jordan Love has been pressured 117 times, Jalen Hurts 114 times, and Jordan Love has more dropbacks, a chunk more dropbacks. Practically, a game is worth more of dropbacks. So Jalen Hurts is being pressured at a higher rate per dropback than Jordan Love. Just to add a little bit more context to all of this. So could it be that the Eagles' issues are just, they can't build their game from the run game, right now? The O-line isn't good enough. Jalen is being pressured, as even AJ alluded to. Are there other ways through this problem? Because you could still say, well, hey, you know what? Even with a bad O-line, even with a lack of run game, you got elite weapons to work with from in the passing game. So get after it. But it's like, okay, but then you do need a play caller to be able to understand that and navigate that. Jalen Hurts has proven his ability to do that. So it's just interesting. If they had a better O-line and could run the ball more reliably, could Kevin Patullo cook? We typically don't talk about it in through that lens. But could he? Maybe. Can Kevin Patullo do a better job of realizing, hey, this is not where this team is at right now, in terms of the O-line and the run game and whatnot. So we're going to have to kind of do things a little bit differently. Could be. The problem is in some of those big games, the games that things felt like they were going better. Like, for instance, against the Vikings. This is what I had said after that game, when I was like, this is awesome, this is great. Feel great if you're an Eagles fan, but make no mistake about it. Like, this was a lot of Jalen Hurts magic, which people seem to be allergic to saying, but it was like, this is Jalen Hurts making plays. There were a couple really nice plays that were that you could really say great play call, great play design, etc. But like the really gotta have it moments were Jalen Hurts being Jalen Hurts. And that is actually a negative thing because you're just relying on the magic of your players rather than the game plan unleashing the magic. And that's why I always reference Mahomes and Andy and whatnot, because it's like that dynamic is pretty perfect and pretty textbook. And also recognizing not everyone can have the Andy Reid and Mahomes relationship, but when you're constantly relying on your players just to be the monsters that they are, you're going up against, you know, an uphill battle here. It just makes it harder. And I think that's what AJ is also frustrated by. And I do agree. I understand what Bruce is saying too, that there's a sense of insecurity or frustration of like, hey, I still got it. I totally feel that. That's part of it. I don't think that's the whole thing, but that's definitely part of it. And also, like, A.J. Brown right now has essentially been downgraded to the fourth option. You know, you got, in no specific order, Devontae, Sequin, Dallas, A.J., and it's just like he's been the number one guy. He was the number one guy in 22 and 23. And then when Saquon got there, like, he wasn't the number one guy, but still put up a ton. And if he didn't get injured and played the full season, would have been top 3, top 4, top 5 in every single receiving category, as I've showed you guys a million times. And now it's like he doesn't even have that. And so yeah, I could see that being frustrating. So I don't think anybody really feels inherently comfortable with how this offense is unfolding. Again, I live streamed that Packers game and there was like, okay, the Eagles got the ball now. And there was no sense of like, all right, Eagles got the ball, 4 minutes to go. They're going to be able to move the chains, milk the clock. Boom, done. In fact, a lot of people were calling, I bet you they're going to punt. It's going to be 2 runs, a throw in the flat, and a punt. You know, like everybody was just like, and these are Eagles fans. These are actual, like, intense Eagles fans who I interact with in the comment section all day, every day, who are pro Jalen Hurts and AJ and Vaughn. You know, like these aren't people that are just being negative for the sake of being negative. And then that's also this weird thing because I came across this other post that maybe I'll make another video about. But it was one of like the local news. I don't know. I saw it online and it was pretty much like saying Eagles fans are spoiled. They don't know how good they have it. They're letting the media kind of manipulate them, etc., etc. You know, look at the Giants, look at the Cowboys, look at the Commanders, and like look what the Eagles did in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. And it's like, it's not about that. And the Eagles don't hold themselves to the standard of, well, we're better than the Commanders. We're better than the Giants. It's why I made fun of Nick Wright for celebrating, you know, that he owns the AFC West. And it's like, congrats. The Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers have been disasters. They've been It's like, that's like, okay, great. And that's why I made the joke like, great. I'm taller than 99.9999999% of third grade. I'm sure there's some random third grader who's taller than me, but it's like, I'm the tallest kid in elementary school. It's like, wow, that's cool, man. That's great. Congrats. I can touch the top of the door. You can't. It's like, okay. The Eagles hold themselves to the standard, and the fans are like, no, no, no. We're the Patriots. We're the Chiefs. You know, we're these great teams. We're a top team in the NFL. And so they expect them to continue to play. It's not that they're going to blow out every game, but they expect competence. And when there's a close game, like a 10-7 game, they want it to be because it's born out of competence and not incompetence. They want to feel that, okay, next game, everything's going to be fine. Like, that's where that stems from. It's not being spoiled. It's not being confused. It's not being manipulated by the media. Like, it is just having eyes and being uncomfortable with what you're seeing offensively. That's okay. That makes sense. It's also not complete panic mode where it's like, you're saying, it's over, it's done, no chance. That's too extreme. But it is recognizing, probably need to be better. If you were going into the playoffs right now and you got, you know, you had the first round bye and now it's a divisional round, how confident do you feel in this offense if you said, hey, the defense is going to give up 28 points, how confident are you that the offense can put up 35? You can't just blindly say, oh, of course they can. Well, I know Saquon's going to rush for like 130. AJ's going to get going. Devontae's going to get, like, you can't say that with your chest out. You can't say, oh, I know our O-line's going to bully them and this, that. I know Jalen Hurts is going to be able to rush for 50. Like, you can't say that as strongly this year. And we know they're capable of doing it because we've seen it. That's why I kind of cut Nick off there. It's just kind of like, we have questions about the quarterback. This is not a question about the quarterback. We've seen him do it endless times. Endless times. And the fact that we see such inconsistency, when you see inconsistent team play, not individual play, because Geno Smith, right? Individuals have inconsistent play that are not great, right? right? That's why they're backups. That's why they're lower level quarterbacks. But when you see inconsistent team play, that's coaching. That's coaching. That is absolutely coaching. And so that's what we're seeing. And the fact that this team has been so heavily a tale of two halves that also really is like that opens up the door for coaching. It's not like Davante is just like, I just didn't feel like playing in the first quarter. And Jalen Hurts is like, I wasn't really looking to make good throws until the third quarter. Or, I only wanted to do it in the first quarter. I didn't really care about the fourth quarter. Like, that's not how it's working out here. So, it is a tricky situation. What's the solution? I don't know. At this point, I think the Eagles should be more conservative in their path and say, like, we're going to hire Brian Daboll as a consultant or something. Like, that's a risk, because you have the risk of, like, unsettling, like, a Kevin Patullo and a Sirianni and all of that. But, like, a Super Bowl is at stake right now, and something does need to change a little bit. And it's not perfectly clear what the answer is. And so I don't want this conversation to reduce to AJ's being a baby or focusing on too much on, how the message was conveyed, or let's have a conversation about how good is Jalen Hurt, or even having a conversation about, well, is the O-line not as good and now you can't get Saquon go? You should still be able to a degree, find some sort of solution beyond just, we just need Jalen to be Jalen, we just need Davante, we just need Saquon to be able to, like, do spin moves and leap over people. We just need Davante to catch the ball and get rocked and hold on to it. It's like you can't just constantly rely on that. And if they do, and they end up winning, then it's just like, then these players are even better than anyone ever wants to acknowledge. But I'm very firm on it being a tough existence, and a tough path to win that way. There's a reason why the best coached teams consistently are at the top no matter who's on their roster, because coaching matters so much. Just look at M. Jones, right? I just made a video about M. Jones. Look at what Mac Jones is doing with Shanahan right now. Night and day difference in what he was doing in New England. It's not even close. Night and day difference what he was doing in Jacksonville. Coaching has such a massive impact on whether you win or lose. Such a massive impact. And this Eagles team seemingly has always kind of had a little bit of up and down with the coaching trajectory. It's been a burden they've had to deal with because of they keep winning. So, that's where my mind goes more than anything. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about A.J. Brown speaking out about this Philadelphia Eagles offense and all the conversations that have followed now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.